Hello guys, welcome, I'm SimUK. I hope you're having a fantastic day today. So, a big shout out and thank you to one of our viewers called One Up Void, who drew my attention to the Tom Clancy's Recon Breakpoint update following the feedback from the closed beta. Now there's an open beta coming up soon, so hopefully, in fact I think it's already active, hopefully I'm going to be able to get some time on this and really analyse it in the next couple of days. But I just wanted to point out that I had a lot of people giving me, well, not a lot of people, I had a couple of people giving me jip because I was reviewing a beta. Now, the whole point of reviewing that beta was to draw attention to the issues in the game. And by doing that, that's why we have these changes, these improvements. So I hope to you out there, if you're one of the people who criticised, I mean, on my channel, I got criticised for reviewing a beta, which is ridiculous. Not only did Ubisoft actively invite people to give them feedback, but without that feedback they wouldn't have made any of these necessary changes. So I accept your apology, which I'm sure is very much forthcoming. But moving on, I just want to address some of the things that they've applied here. So for example, the running. Now pretty much everybody, and I've watched other people's reviews since releasing my own. I always wait until after I've made my review before I do that, so that I'm not in any way led or coerced by something somebody else has said. Apologies for shouting in the background and my headphones trying to turn themselves off. Now here, this is the old running animation, and if you compare it to the new running animation, it honestly, that alone is a massive step forward, because it was horrendous. It was so bad it needed to be changed. So thumbs up to Ubisoft for that. I think they've actually taken on board, I mean, to be honest with you, they must have some sort of in-house testing team, and why they didn't flag that up before even putting it out for beta is beyond me. Now that being said, there is a very good chance that the beta we were playing is weeks, maybe even months behind their current development, so maybe this has already been addressed. It's possible. I think it's unlikely. I think this is a result of the feedback, or the negative feedback that was given around this. Another change that they've implemented is switching weapons. Now, I'll be honest with you, I felt that the speed at which weapon swapping was going on, which is here, if you can see on the left-hand side, I felt that was pretty darn realistic. I thought the timing was about right. Maybe a smidge faster for a fully qualified special ops operative, maybe, yes. Now I think maybe it's a bit too quick, but okay, I can kind of live with it. For me, the weapon, and I didn't really mention this in my review to be fair, I should have done perhaps. For me, it was the UI that was the problem, because when you switched weapons, the UI didn't give you any indication that you had switched weapons. And I was constantly switching again, thinking that the first one hadn't been activated, which would then take me to, past the weapon I want and onto the next weapon. So for me, that was the issue. The issue was around the UI, not the actual speed of the animation. But, okay, fine. Now, this is another animation speed improvement, and I've got to say, if you look at the guy on the left, that's how I get up off the ground, right? This is an old man way. That's how I get on the ground, and then, yeah, up on my knee, and then very slowly lift myself up, because everything's going, oh, bloody hell, that aches. Do you know what I mean? This is how we need to move. Special ops, super fit, super healthy, super strong, super reactive. There is a considerable difference in speed there. A good 2 or 3 seconds worth of, a good 2 seconds worth of shooting time has been gained by this new animation, so that's a big positive as well. They've also introduced faster interaction with chests, which, okay, I can kind of understand that there was a whole sort of long animation thing when you open the crate up and you reach in, rummage around, pull out the, yeah, I get that. So they've increased the speed at which that happens. So again, okay, that's a good thing. There's no reason why that shouldn't be the case, I suppose. Less paralysis time after injury trigger. So when you get shot, there's a small amount of time where you can't do anything. You can't aim, you can't shoot, you can't do anything at all. That was probably a bit too long. So again, I think that's a positive move there. Faster entry into vehicles. That's again a good move, because it really did feel like when you click on it, like there was just this really long unnecessary delay, and it was like it was like the camera had to adjust in order to accommodate the animation that was about to happen. That was the delay that was there. Now this is quite a good one, the cancellation of ongoing action. So when you're in, and PUBG is terrible for this, when you're in an animation, you can't stop it. There's a fantastic bug in PUBG that I've discovered that I've never shown or shared with anybody. But if you start reloading the, what's that really crappy pistol, the 7-shooter pistol? If you're reloading that pistol and halfway through you swap weapons, it'll continue doing the animation or the audio animation for reloading that gun way after you've put it down. There's loads of stuff like that in PUBG, and this game was a little bit the same as well. So if you were opening a chest and then suddenly somebody spotted you, they would blow your head off and you'd still be there doing the very slow chest animation video, because you couldn't cancel out of it. If you were opening a chest, then that's what you were doing. No matter what happened after the second you press that button, that's what's happening. Same thing applies to getting in a car, the ability to cancel getting in a car by moving the stick away from the interaction. That's a cool addition. Faster cancellation of intel gathering interactions. Now, I guess, I never actually did it, but I guess you can cancel out of doing the intel things. There's a little like animation scene bit that goes on there. So, okay, that's an improvement as well. These are all things that allow you to remain reactive to the environment around you. New rush animation. The rush animation of the main character has been modified to be more natural. I don't know that it's more natural. I just think there's more intensity to it. I mean, this guy on the right looks like he's proper running, whereas the guy on the left looks like he's almost running. Do you know? It's like it's just a little bit laboured. Whereas the guy on the right just looks like he's proper, someone's shooting at him and he's trying to get out of the way. So that's an improvement, I guess. Better terrain analysis when running to more accurately display correct animation. To be honest with you, I didn't really think that was the finished, polished article anyway, the way that the terrain analysis was being implemented. I felt like there was still work to be done there, so I think that's just natural progression. And probably, as I mentioned earlier, that is something that they've already... their build that they're working on has probably already taken that into account anyway, so nothing really special there. Better camera for shooting from within a vehicle. Camera framing from passenger seats has been improved for better shooting opportunities. I can't really comment on that. I didn't really experience that very often. I did have, I showed it in my video, but it kind of reverted back to this sort of inertia issue that they had when you're moving the character around. I ran to a car to escape, certain death situation, and unfortunately it took those couple of extra steps. I didn't get in the front seat, I got in the back seat, and then I had to basically fight from within there. I felt that worked pretty well. I mean, maybe it's different in each car, but it did the job it needed to do. But yeah, okay, alright, so they've improved that, which is great. So there were some issues I've seen since I released my video of online replication of other ghosts and NPCs. There was some funny giggly moments about that. Apparently they've found the problem, fixed it, which is great. Now, vehicles, this is quite disappointing, I have to say. I mean, there's some good stuff here, but it's also very disappointing. So if you look at the old animation here, and it's going to skip it, and we just wait for it to go around again. The old animation here, do a handbrake turn, the car literally stops, and then it struggles to get up the hill. Now the car feels like it has a bit more power to it. Do you see the difference there? They say it's a handbrake and drifting behaviour, but really and honestly the whole car just felt like, it was a 50cc engine in there or something. It couldn't handle the slopes, it couldn't handle the hills, it couldn't handle a bump, it couldn't handle a handbrake. It was awful. I mean, honestly, everything to do with the handling and driving of the vehicle is absolute rubbish. And somebody said to me, oh no, you don't understand, it's got more weight now. These don't have any weight. If you run into them, you can push them out the way. These vehicles are just awful on every level. Everything about it is bad. I have to say that the handbrake improvement that we're seeing here, where he's actually sliding it around the corner and still powering through with the engine, that's better, but I'm not really sure that's a handbrake thing. I think it's more a physics thing. Like the momentum of the vehicle is just stopped too quickly because it has no weight. That was the problem. So I mean, that's a small improvement. And also Oh yeah, the ground vehicles are less affected by the angle of slopes to provide a less frustrating and more coherent driving experience. That's what we're seeing here. In my opinion, that's what this video is showing here. It's not really the handbrake that's been improved here. It's the ability to power up the hill. When you put the handbrake on, which slows the car down, but you can still power away because the car's got more power. That's what the difference is for me. So, I mean, that's a good difference, but I don't think it's going to improve the handling. The handling is still absolute tosh. It's atrocious, really bad. This, I'm not too happy about. Traveling, in fact, from here on, it's pretty negative in my head. Traveling with helicopters is more accessible. More helicopters have been distributed to grant greater ease of access to the open world and reduce the level of immersion. Because why would there be hundreds of helicopters just everywhere? And also, where does it say here? Oh, there we go. Sparrow helicopter is now accessible by default at the bivouac right away. So the bivouacs are like selected areas around the map where you can sit down and basically access the shop and the main menu and change your loadout and do all that kind of stuff. I'm not really a big fan of the bivouac because I want to play on the hardcore level. And the whole point of it is, you've gone out with a gun or a loadout and a certain amount of ammo. If you run out, you need to go back to base and get some more. This whole bivouac thing where you just kind of get resupplied for free, I'm not a big fan of it. I really am not a big fan of it. And now that there's more helipads, more helicopters, and the bivouac has a helicopter straight away, I don't know, I'm not a fan of it. I just think, they've promoted so heavily you're out in the open, you're on your own, you've got to survive. Or you can go to the bivouac, do some shopping, get in your car, aka helicopter, fly around wherever you like. That's the immersion is gone. It's become an arcade game, and basically everything you're going to hear from here just completely heads in that direction. I mean, when I discuss sort of the level of difficulty in the game, I felt like I'm not overly impressed with the gun mechanics. I've mentioned this a couple of times before. They're not very good. Headshots are instant kills, supposedly, but I don't feel like the gun mechanics are particularly good. There doesn't seem to be any bullet drop from long distance shots. But there is, but it seems inconsistent, and I don't know. I'm just not taken with the gun physics, but I haven't played enough to really 100% know how it feels, and I'm sure that's something that could be tweaked and adjusted quite easily, and it will be. Smarter AI, better behaviour, so improvements made to help NPCs from becoming stuck in walls. Never saw it, but okay, good. AI camp states are more reliable, resulting in consistent and logical behaviour. No idea what that means. I don't know what that means. I saw people sort of walking around, patrolling areas, walking from here to there and everywhere. Seemed pretty logical and normal to me, but they've improved it, so okay, good. NPCs related to specific missions improved to better move and follow more accurately. So I guess if you were protecting someone and they're moving around, they would get stuck behind a tree or whatever. So now it works better. They follow your movement better. Improvements have been made to provide more logical enemy sniper behavior so they remain at or near their vantage points. I think if you spooked an area, the sniper would kind of climb down from their vantage point in order to try and tackle you from, hide behind a paper wastebasket or something like that. So I'm glad they've improved that. NPCs will now take cover in a more realistic and logical way. There was a number of incidents where they could have taken cover exactly where they were standing, but they'd rather run 20 feet across open ground and hide behind a plastic bin rather than take cover behind the concrete pillar that they were stood at. So yeah, I'm glad they've changed that because it was a bit daft, to be fair. They've increased the window of opportunity to avoid the call for reinforcement. Do you know what? I think they've done that the wrong way, and this is a typical Ubisoft thing. It's about making it easier. Oh yeah, everyone has to be really good at the game, because they're a grindy game. So it's like it just makes me so sick. It's so pathetically easy to play the game sometimes. What they've done here is they've increased the window of opportunity to avoid the call for reinforcement. I think that's wrong. I think what should happen is reinforcements emanate from a location, and depending where you are on the map, that's how long it takes for them to get to you. So if you alert somebody and they call in for reinforcements, if you're far away from their their base, their main base where they come from, then it takes them longer to get to you. That's what should happen. Because at the moment, it's like they just pop up from behind a hill. Wherever the nearest hill is, you've got drones and people coming over the hill instantly, and that's crap. That is really crap. So rather than having a window of opportunity to avoid the call for reinforcement, I think it's the call for reinforcement should come straight away. If you get attacked, you don't go, oh, I'm going to call for reinforcements in 30 seconds. You don't. You call for reinforcements immediately. Say, we're under attack, we need backup. And then it takes them as long as it takes them to get there. That's realistic. That's what they should have done. But anyway, and here we go. The time before the reinforcements arrive has been increased, meaning players will have more time to react and kill the Arch-type radio operator. Now, I don't get what they're saying here exactly. So if the radio operator calls for backup and then I kill him, does that mean backup isn't coming? Is that what that means? Because if that's what that means, that's crap. Mortar is now far less precise to give players more opportunities to move and avoid the hits. I think, again, I think Mortar should be... I mean, it shouldn't be overly precise or overly imprecise, but there should certainly be an element of randomization. Like, yes, they're trying to, like, so if a mortar was trying to hit a building, they probably wouldn't hit the building every shot. They'd like hit near it, round it, over it, miss it, you know, and then get one on. So maybe 1 in 10 would actually hit the target, or 2 in 10, something like that. I think that if they implemented something like that, it'd be better, in my humble opinion. Wide range difficulty. This is where it gets really disgusting. Regular difficulty level has been turned down a little bit to prevent difficulty peaks. What the hell is a difficulty peak? Isn't that the point of having difficulty levels? Is you can manage the peak yourself? Ridiculous. Arcade difficulty level has been adjusted to be easier, so everything in the game has just got easier. The only thing, I mean, I only play on the hardest level anyway because I want the challenge, but everything below that has, you know, so it's now, what it feels like from what they're saying is it's now super easy or hard. There's no in between. That's how it feels to me anyway. Enemy AI are less powerful, meaning they do less damage than before. Life regeneration of the main character is faster. Aim assistance has been increased to make a wide area of tolerance in which the players don't have to aim precisely to target an enemy. Now, it's not 100% clear that that is only under the arcade difficulty level, but the way that the bullet points are positioned, it does kind of suggest that that has only been applied to the arcade mode. So I really hope so. I use keyboard and mouse anyway, so I don't have aim assist, but for those using controllers, they'll probably be quite disappointed if aim assist was that bad. Because, I mean, that is proper snapping on the target, isn't it? Boom. 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 I mean, dear. Hopefully that's only in the arcade difficulty. More realistic experience in extreme difficulty. This is good. The red lights on the minimap that indicate the enemy presence have been removed to provide increased immersion and challenge. Perfect. I honestly think, in Wildlands, the thing that annoyed me the most was if I turned the HUD off, it would turn everything off. There was no in between. There was no way to mix and match to suit your preferred playstyle. So what I found really difficult was I couldn't figure out, and why would I, where I was supposed to be going. Which building am I meant to be going in? What am I actually looking for? There's no way of knowing when you turn everything off. So I needed, back in Wildlands, just all I needed was an indication of which building am I attacking here? Which building am I looking to go to? And you couldn't do that. Now, I didn't like the red mist that was on hardcore. I did feel it was too easy. I hoped that I would be able to turn it off. I never actually got around to trying to do it, but apparently you couldn't. I would just say to Ubisoft, just give us complete control over what we see on the hardcore level. If you want to play with the hardcore enemy, you know, if you want to play against the hardest AI, but you want to have the red mist, why can't you have that? I mean, I don't, personally, but if you do, why can't you? Why don't they allow us to mix and match to suit our personal needs? That would be much better. The shop in, this is just UI stuff. All the functionalities provided in the shop in Era 1 are now accessible at any bivouac in the world. Again, see, I think that's a negative thing. I'm not a big fan of the bivouac in the first place, but now the bivouac is like a mobile shop. Disappointed, really am. Exploration icons, the guided experience is now on by default. The rest of this is really not that interesting, to be honest with you. You can turn on or off question marks and stuff for discovered but unexplored areas and things like that. To be honest with you, some of them are so well hidden. The first one I ever found, I don't think I shared this video footage, the first one I ever found was an underground armory. And even though the question mark was on it, I went looking for that thing. I couldn't find it for love nor money, and I gave up. And as I turned around and walked away, I fell down the hole, but I couldn't see it at all. There was no way of me knowing it was there. So if they turn off those question marks, I don't think you'll ever find anything, because they are so well hidden. So yeah. I don't know. It's good that you've got the option, and this is what I was saying, you know, just give us the option. Let us turn everything on and off the way we want it. I mean, have a default. So you say, I want it on the hardest possible setting, and default it to whatever their default for the hardest setting is. But then also allow us to turn on the red mist or on and off the question marks. Do you know what I mean? Just let us decide how we want the UI to be displayed, because we all play differently. We don't all want the same challenge. That's the thing. Economy has been improved, graphics, weapon audio improvements, which is good. Actually, that is good. I didn't mention that in my review, but the weapons are so subdued. You fire a weapon, it sounds like you're firing a BB gun, so hopefully that'll be more punchy and prominent, fingers crossed. Debug of vehicle entry interaction, obviously, I don't know what that means exactly, but maybe it's I don't know what that is. I was thinking, you know, when I tried to get in the front, I ended up in the back of the car. Maybe that's the kind of thing they're thinking about. Better camera consistency with the main character. There are issues when you switch in between third and first person, and also when you're trying to move in cover. Yeah, it's just a nightmare. Hopefully that's going to be better. Improved audio cues when concealed, hit, injured, etc. Don't know what that means. Improved audio on vehicles. Again, they were too quiet, subdued. Slower vehicles like SUVs have had a speed increase. Yeah, I think the vehicles just need a massive overhaul, to be honest with you. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So there's a lot of good stuff in there, some negative stuff, but you know, this is the reason why people like me make reviews on betas before they get released, because otherwise you guys who haven't had access to the beta but have pre-ordered or are thinking of buying the game, you're going to end up playing that game in its previous state, which was absolute crap. It really was rubbish, which is why we all said it was rubbish, because it was rubbish. But because so many people have said it was rubbish, they have done something about it, and that is the reason why YouTubers should review games and not promote them. Do you understand? YouTubers, if you're a YouTuber who plays games, one of the big YouTuber assholes who never do anything or say anything negative about a game because they're getting paid to promote it, yeah, you assholes, you should all just piss off, because it's so important that people really point out the issues with the game so that they can be fixed, and people who pay a lot of money to buy this game actually get a decent experience. Got a bit pissed off towards the end there, didn't I? I did. Got a bit angry, a bit annoyed. But anyway, that's my points. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below, because these are just my opinions. I'm just me. This is how I see it. You might see it differently, and that's absolutely fine. You might have a better idea. You might have things that you find are absolutely unbearable that I don't find particularly bothering me at all. That's just life. You need to get used to that. So thank you for watching. Hopefully this has been informative for you, and especially dedicated to those who complained about me making reviews on beta games. I don't even understand why you would even think that. Absolutely ridiculous. Thanks for watching. Take care. Till next time. Goodbye.